In this lecture, I will begin discussing mummies captured through the perspective of Victorians. This dives deep into the obsession that they have with ancient Egyptology and certain curses or legends that are known to be tied with it. We are going to explain how texts like the Jewel of Seven Stars, plus Lot 249, and Professor Petrus, all three of these texts display Egyptology and well-renowned curses to Victorian fears of power and the dangers of colonial takeover. The Jewel of Seven Stars and Lot 249 by Doyle, ancient Egyptian culture becomes a platform for searching fear-factoring topics on science and the supernatural. Both these stories create suspense while talking about the moral and cultural consequence of exploiting foreign cultures. Through characters like Queen Tara in these mummies, both these texts explore intersections of power, desire, curiosity, and guilt. Queen Tara is the representation of female interpretation of Victorian female view. This discusses the fascination of curses and the rituals. In this story, they are led by Mr. Trelawney and reflect the Victorian view of power. The text discusses the ambition, curiosity, and passion that is displayed towards Egyptology. This also defies male authority and goes against the ideal cues of feminism in Victorian culture. This makes a connection with Lot 249 as it displays the mummy as a servant within the people having control over it, and the Victorian ways of handling power against rebellion towards the higher ups. Victorians love to explore. That is why this fiction fascinates them and creates tension between fear and fascination. This discusses colonial advantages that come into play and other cultures mesh into each other to create a subgenre of fiction. These characters live in a society of empire, dominance, and consequences. This makes a connection with Professor Petrus as it values the obsession with material possession, takes a different approach to Egyptology, and reflects the theme of cursed artifacts and the damage it does to cultures, people, and overall. Moving on from this, we will discuss the Gothic elements of both stories that hide in suspense while critiquing Victorian values. In this story, it ordinates the description of Egyptian artifacts that celebrate their beauty, but the accompanying curses that are created within to create a sense of dread. Doyle's use of dark settings and imagery in Lot 249 reflects Victorian fears of science and the supernatural both colliding together. Both these aesthetic choices mirror the Victorian tension between modern and the ancient world. This creates a platform for them to underscore the dangers of tampering with forces beyond human understanding. An analysis of this would be this duality of awe and dread reflects Victorian aesthetic sensibilities, the romanticization of the exotic alongside the fear of its untamed power. In both stories, both languages discuss possession and control, critique Victorian hubris. Whether if it's Mr. Trelawney trying to resurrect Tara or Bellingham enslaving the mummy, both create this effect of awe and dread. A final image of Queen Tara as she is imagined to be resurrected within this and how it connects to Bellingham's vengeful mummy. Some topics I'll go over would be anxieties in Victorian fiction, fear of colonial rebellion and cultural appropriation, and the Gothic tropes and what Victorians define as their identity. To conclude this, the Jewel of Seven Stars and Lot 249 reimagine each other in ancient Egyptian culture to explore Victorian anxieties about gender, empire, and the modern world. The language and form of these texts critique the dangers of exploitation, whether that be through Queen Tara's defiance of male dominance or the vengeful power of Doyle's mummy in Lot 249. By blending Gothic horror with curses and blending that in with Egyptology and the stories that reflect Victorian culture are what fascinate Victorians with fear of the unknown. This offers a timeless lesson about respect for cultural heritage and the consequences of cultural exploitation. This brings together all the elements of the Jewel of the Seven Stars, Lot 249, and the story of Professor Petrus, and the insights that each offer. Each story offers a well-rounded, critical view of Victorian mummy fiction. In my opinion, it shows them through the eyes of the Victorians in that time period and what they thought of Egyptology. And that will conclude this lecture and my analysis on this topic. Thank you.